We're here for the final round. We're currently 2-1, so big game. Big game. And our hand is just good enough to keep. Hopefully this Wayfinder can bin a dragon or two so we can haven some stuff back. I'm not in a super big rush to scry since I have a 2 and a 3 drop. And in order to play the Raptor on turn 3 after a turn 2 Wayfinder, I'd have to play the Palace anyway, unless I Wayfinder into another green source. And we're up against the Mono Reds. So I'm glad that I kept the ability to curve out here. I believe satyrs are the natural enemy of goblins. And we just, well, we've been to dragon, but we didn't hit. It's not really the biggest deal, though. We have enough lands. Just hope that doesn't mean that we're going to draw 4 land in a row or whatever. That'd be bad times. Now we're getting beat down for 4. Maybe this Raptor can help us stabilize. It'd be nice if we were able to Thoughtseize before playing the Raptor so we could clear out a Lightning Strike or something, but I don't think we have that luxury. Oh, well, now we can do that. So there's a Lightning Strike, and now there's just a bunch of creatures. So the Hordeling Outburst is kind of scary, because you might be able to go wide and get around all the stuff that we're doing. But I do think we have to take this strike, and then we're going to take a little hit on the chin from these Swift Spears, but that should be okay. We hit a Plains. Plains is good. Do need some action, though. Could use some action. No more Wild Slashes. I would be happy to trade with this Denizen. Alright, so we have Hero's Downfall. Not the greatest right now. Ooh, Dramoka. Hello. Alright, so now we get to go Raptor, which hopefully shuts down his entire team. And then Downfall something to make it so our opponent can't really go wide around us, so we can jam Dramoka, and that should be that. So hopefully it's as simple as I thought, but Lightning Strike is going to make things very difficult. So taking 6 this turn, down to 6, get to Downfall something, and then hopefully we don't die. Our opponent has an Outburst and a random card. Hopefully it's another 3-drop. And any burn spell kills us, so we have to fade some draw steps now. This is the whole thing that we're trying to avoid with the Lightning Strike. The Thoughtseize taking the Lightning Strike. So now we can Downfall the Zergo, because that represents the most power. I suppose we should just play the Plains because our opponent knew about it. Yeah, and our opponent just has another Lightning Strike. Okay. Okay. Not playing fair, are we? Hiya. So close. So close. But guess what? I get 37 sideboard cards. Ojutais are not great, but they only cost 5 mana, so they're a little bit better. And now we're in the same spot we were in, where we don't really know how to sideboard. We have a few too many cards to come in, I think. It's possible the Ojutais are supposed to go, but they're so big, and we need ways to kill our opponent. We need a big thing to stabilize behind. Den Protector Foul Tongue is really good. I could see cutting a land, but it's kind of tough to do that when we're trying to Dramoka our opponent. It's tough to tough to really explain that one away. We have 4 6s. We do have a lot of mana sources. Maybe if I stare at this long enough, something will jump out at me. I don't think that's going to be the case, though. possible we don't even want the Drifting Death, just because it's a little slow. So we could do that. I can see cutting a Den Protector, a land. This is not an exact science. I don't want to cut like a Death Mist Raptor. That just seems silly. The version I started from only had 3 coursers, but courser seems particularly good. You know, since we have it, we should keep it. Maybe we just cut a Raptor. This hand's okay. It's not good. It doesn't have any of our sideboard cards. We are basically relying on Trained Armadon to hold the fort, and I'm not sure that's going to be good enough. We have turn 5 Ojutai, potentially, but that's so bad. That's so slow against mono red. I think we have to mulligan. This hand is much better. This hand is everything we need. We just need a finisher. Duress is kind of nice, but I think we can do better. Really want some lands, want some big stuff. We have a Drown to sweep up all of his little stuff, so... Oh, opponent forgot to attack. I will take my free point of life. Thank you very much. Another Sylvan Caryatids. Okay. It's maybe better than a land, maybe worse, depending on how things play out. Opponent goes for a Dragon Fodder. So we could Drown for the 2-for-1. I'm going to block here. Could Drown for the 2-for-1. And now it might be worth it since we have a second Drown, actually. I'm mostly worried about playing Courser, getting it stoked, and then just dying a horrible death. If we Drown, our opponent plays Rabble Master, it's kind of bad. Yeah, I'm going to play Courser. I want to try and make my land drops. There we go. Free plains. Thanks, buddy. Me and the Centaurs, we get along quite well. And we have another land on top, so we can play like Drown into Caryatid next turn, and then any fatty we draw is going to be live. So after I tanked for a bit there, I think my opponent should probably be a little wary of something like Drown in Sorrow, but if my opponent also thinks that he's not going to beat a Drown Sorrow, then by all means, you know, stoke my Courser and give me the beatdowns, you know. So we have a Llanowar Waste on top, so we're going to take a point of damage, but that should be okay. We're still at 17. So kill all your stuff. Don't need this ultimate price. We have 2 removal spells already. And I'm mostly looking for a dragon. Any Dramokas? Any Dramokas? Foundry Street Denizen is the big follow-up. There's big fatty Dramoka. It's possible I would want to actually Foul Tongue that thing away, but the only reason I would want to do that if my life total was kind of low and I was worried about something like Harness by Force. But I don't think there's any real way I can lose at this point. And my opponent thinks so also. So we head to the sideboard. It was a good game, well played on both sides. Some nice clean magic, just what we like to see. And now we have to think if we want to make any changes based on the fact that we're on the draw. And I don't think so. I don't think that what we did is perfect as far as sideboarding is concerned, but I don't think it's necessarily bad either. It's possible we could bring in the Drifting Death to have more ways to turn on Invocation. And we're on the draw, so it's more likely that we get to 6 mana on turn 5 or 6 than if we were on the play. So it's a consideration. I am worried about getting Dragon Flooded to some degree. I think I'm going to keep it the same. Gonna have to work out some sideboard plans at some point. Alright, so we have a Murderous Cut with no Delve Enabler. Our opponent's Snap kept 7, so we need a green source for sure. If we hit a third land, we get to face down a raptor, which is not the best idea. But, you know, we're going to have to make do with what we have. So, could really use a forest. Haven is not quite there. Would also accept Satyr Wayfinder, so we could play that on turn 3, maybe hit a black source, maybe a Llanowar Waste or something, and then cut. And our opponent's Dashing Lightning and Berserker, so playing around Drown a little bit more this game, which I'm fine with because we don't have it. And not even pumping the Berserker. So maybe another 1-drop. Yeah, just hardcast a Berserker. That's reasonable. And we are Haven flooded. So we're going to price whatever Berserker our opponent pumps the most, and then hopefully be able to play a Courser. Oh, I think I would play Death Mist Raptor face up first. I think our opponent is going to split the Berserkers. That would be the best course of action, I think. And we should just cut or price the one that's in play. Tie up our opponent's mana a little bit. Then we'll play this face down Raptor if we don't draw green. So we didn't draw green. We drew an Urborg. That's okay too. If this dies, we can cut something, and then we might be able to get into Dramoka Town. Please don't let the only 2 losses in this daily be to mono red. Alright, Hordling Outburst is here. There's a 2/3 Swift Spear that we cannot block effectively. We can cut that thing next turn. Block some stuff, but hopefully our opponent does not kill our Morph, because we need that to block. Alright, so just played the Berserker, so all in against Drown in Sorrow. And we have a land for Courser. And we're going to play that land, but I believe we're just going to cut this turn. So our opponent is likely thinking that we're going to Den Protector our ultimate price. That is not what's going to happen. So we block Berserker, trade with that, cut the Swift Spear, play Courser next turn, gain our life back. And we're going to 9. I think that's okay. I believe if our opponent had burn spells, they would have cast them. So Foundry Street Denizen comes down, and a 5th land. 5th land is a good sign for us. And we have Foul Tongue to gain 4 life. So that might actually be better than Courser. Harness by Force is always something I'm scared of, even though it's not something that a lot of my opponents necessarily have. So what's a worst case scenario here? Worst case scenario is probably another Hordling Outburst. But we can beat that, as long as nothing bad happens to our Dramoka. There's the Rablor. So we Foul Tongue in response. This is worse than Outburst by far. So we go up to 13. Foundry Street becomes 3 power, but our opponent gets an extra goblin. So it's the same amount of damage, except our opponent has this Rabble Master that we have to block next turn. So Harness by Force is definitely going to kill us. I know it's not a card that most people play, but something I live in fear of. And here's Big Papa. It's going to trade with Rabble Master, but that's okay, because it should fog most of the attack. Oh, Heel Cutter. That's like a Harness by Force, which is way worse for me. About the same, actually. Well, crap. We died. What are we at? Negative 50? And a Wild Slash for value. Negative 13. If we blocked and we're able to gain 5, we're still pretty much toast. So, yeah, 2-2 overall. Both losses to Mono Red. Did beat Mardu, though. So, I don't know. Maybe we need another Drown in Sorrow or something. The original list had Bioblight, which is good, but harder to cast. It certainly has more of an impact in this matchup, though. Maybe what I was saying earlier, where maybe we sideboard some Siege Rhinos, that might help also. So those are all considerations, and I feel like this matchup is beatable, you know? We certainly have the room in our sideboard to, you know, make this matchup as good as it can be, so I'm going to work on doing that, and thanks for watching.